This video is going to focus on titles and academic referencing. First, we'll look at title cards and their use within video, then creating opening titles, titles that can be used for topic headings or referencing, and then finally, how we can save our title setups. So titles, or sometimes referred to as title cards, are basically preset ways of text to be formatted on the screen. They can be edited, but they're already created in a way that if you like the way that their presentation looks, they're easy to drag and drop into your timeline and populate with your own text. So if I go to Effects Library, and I'm in the Titles section, and then go and make sure I've got Hover Scrub Preview enabled, it means I can just roll the pointer over any of these. Some of them will be animated, some of them will have transitions built in as well. And you just quickly go about previewing what might be the most suitable. So this basic title would make a good introduction text. So a title that happens before the main footage begins. Something like this lower third, so the lower third of the screen, would be good for topics or subtopics, and possibly even for academic referencing as well. And that's what we can use this for. So titles when we need to make a cut away from main footage, overlays in terms of topics and subtopics, and then of course academic referencing to make sure that we're acknowledging where our resources have come from. Let's have a look at creating some opening titles. So if I just grab this basic title, drag and drop it, it will be overlaid alongside the existing footage. Shift and Command will let it move everything else out of the way and create space in the timeline. So let's get rid of the effects library for a minute to create some more screen space. And make sure your inspector's open. That's where we're going to see the details of the actual text box. And in this case, it's a very simple affair of just adding the text that you want to have, choosing the font that you want to have, being able to choose its color and its size, play with aspects in terms of its line spacing and so on. All the things you'd be used to seeing in a word processor. And then we have options of making it look nice on a particular background in terms of drop shadow and other ways of basically just trying to improve the presentation of the text. So I'm just going to give this a really simple title as it's a demo. So I'm going to call this Real Player, and then I'm going to put return, and then let's change the text size to something around 60, and then let's put this the research and in fact, let's make that larger there. So Real Player, the research and exploration stage. So I can ease it in. I can use the ease in and ease out handles as we've done before. A large part of my exploration, and we can use our transform tool and we can move that around if we want to do that as well. And find a different position for it. However, the center position for me was fine as a title page. Now I'm going to have a look at putting some titles in for topics and subtopics. So I've positioned my cursor to be around about the place I want to put this. So it's as simple as just dragging it in again. And then depending on the type of text, for instance, if I just undo that and drag in this one instead, when you go to the inspector, you may see that there's actually two different text boxes for in this case, the thin, higher text, and then the bold, stronger text as well. So depending on what you've actually dragged in will dictate, how many boxes are available there. So let's just go for this clean and simple lower thirds. In fact, we can go for the one that does have two text boxes. And so the big text is going to be try and correct my spelling there. The text is going to be basically the topic or the subtopic, and then my overarching topic is going to be real player. Okay. So I'm just going to wait a moment because I'm on that 5-second wait for render cache to kick in. So you'll notice that the red line above there is going blue right now. You don't have to wait, but it will be choppy, or more choppy than it would be if you don't wait for the render. So let's give that a go. A large part of my exploration in this project was to explore the very early streaming platforms or abilities to... Now, if I want it to last for longer, I can of course just change the length of this title. So let's go to the last aspect of how we can do this, which will be adding it alongside some imagery. So I will just try and find something that's going to just be quite dynamic compared to the other one. In fact, let's do it a different way. We've done one that's got an animation, so I'm going to grab one that's just a very basic lower third and just grab that above where I want to have an academic reference. And again, it's got two different text boxes. So I've got a title, which I can call real player. Apologies, let me just type that again. Real player research. And then go to the next text box. And then I want to put in my academic reference basically. So I'm going to go to my reference that I've already got together in Harvard format. And I'm going to drop that in here. Now, as you can see, it's doubled up there, so let's just get rid of that. And then let's play around with the size of that text. So 20 might be a good place to start. Okay, now if I want to check whether that's going to be viewable for someone who's watching this at least in HD on a full use of their screen, I can press Command and F just to see how big this would be on the actual screen. It needs to be a little bit bigger than that, I think, just for easier reading. So let's go for 30. Yeah, that's better. Oh, you can undo and redo, by the way, when you're in full screen, which is quite useful if you're not too sure between two changes you've made, the earlier and newer version. Let's just do line spacing and get that text a little bit higher. I'm not actually seeing this in context of the main image, which doesn't help. So let's bring that down and pop that over here. And as you can see, the text itself is far too long. It's not fitting within the box size of the title. So rather than having to find a different title that will accommodate for that, what I will do is just line break these themselves where I see fit. Okay. Let's just get the line blur to just help that text pop out, because I am doing white on white here. Of course, I can go in and I can change the color of the text if I feel that I need to find something that's going to be a little bit easier to pop out of the screen color. Maybe something nearer to there. It's actually quite hard to see that on the very, very left. So just for demonstration purposes, I'll stick with that, although I'm not particularly keen on that being in yellow. But let's look at that in full screen. That's definitely clear. That was the main aim with this. So again, I can ease it in, I can ease it out. There's also, if we go to here, there's also a text box option, which can be used to try and better surround the text. So let's change the width to be around about here. just resize it so it fits much more in keeping there. So that looks quite nice. Remember, render cache, if you want to wait for that, you can do. So Real Player would be an example of this and how it specifically... Now I've got a slight overlay, so I'm just going to pull that down. In fact, no, I'm not. I'm going to leave that and I'm going to go to my image itself and I'm going to amend the image position because I prefer the tidiness of my reference there. Okay, let's just take that off. So I have eased in and eased out the image already. I could choose to animate, if I go to video transitions, I can choose to animate the actual title as well, the text. So let's go for slide right and see if that's what I'm after. So Real Player would be in this and how it specifically... No, that's not what I'm after there. Just going to expand this and I think it's slide, this one here, yeah. So Real Player would be in this and how it specifically sounded. Okay, so the duration isn't going to be right. Let's continue that just for demonstration purposes. I'm going to take snap off and just make this slightly overlap the next camera angle change. Make sure that so I can slide it out again, or I can just change the outro, should we say, the easing out of that footage. And let's just wait for a moment and then we'll play that back. So Real Player would be an example of this and how it specifically sounded compared to other lower reduced bit rates. And this could fall quite... Okay, so I'm fairly happy with that. I would probably want that to be a little bit longer, but for speed of demo, I won't wait for that to re-render. But we can change all these aspects until we think that we've got it right. And that will then lead us on to trying to save these so they're available either within this project for other timelines when we're editing, or in a way that we can actually have them available across all projects that we're working on.